Welcome to the Meadow Springs Presbyterian Church Children's Moment. I'm Pastor Elizabeth Shen O'Connor. I welcome all you kids who are joining us. And are you excited? I'm excited. We are almost there after all of these months and weeks of waiting. It is finally here. We get to celebrate the birth of Jesus. We get to see the beautiful lights and open those wonderful gifts and know the love that God has for us and the gift of Jesus Christ. So I'm always a child at heart. I get excited this time of year too. I can't help it. But in these weeks, we have been talking about the stories around Jesus's birth. And today we come to the very thing itself. We get to hear the story of how Jesus was born. And I hope you've heard this, but maybe you haven't, and you'll hear it for the first time today. But if you remember from our previous children's moments, right, we've had Mary, who is pregnant with baby Jesus. We've got her husband, Joseph. Both of them have been visited by angels of the Lord, and those angels have said, don't be afraid. God's got good news for you. This baby that's coming is going to be the savior of the whole world. So they've got that good news, but now they're actually going to see it come true. And so I'm going to clear my area here, and I'm going to set the stage so that we can tell the story. So we've got Mary, right? And we've got Joseph. And what happens next is that Mary and Joseph hear that the emperor, kind of like the King of Kings, right, for that land, has told everyone that they need to go to the family's hometown to register for what's called a census. We have censuses today, in fact, and that's when we get to count up all the people and find out how many people are living in the land. Well, for Joseph, that means traveling a long, long way from where they are in Nazareth in Galilee to Bethlehem, the city of Bethlehem. That's way past the big city of Jerusalem, all the way south. And it's a long journey, especially in that day. They didn't have cars. They didn't have airplanes. They had to ride for long distances by donkey. Can you imagine how bumpy that would be? Well, that's how they got around. So Mary and Joseph travel long distance all the way to the town of Bethlehem. And when they get there, they find out all of the hotels and all the motels and every inn and every bed and breakfast, they're full up. Everyone's come and there's no more room. Well, they don't quite know what they're going to do. I'm sure they consult with one another and try and figure it out. Ultimately, what they find is that one of the innkeepers says, well, I don't have any more rooms to let. But you know what? I've got a barn. And if you're up for it, you can stay there. You've got a roof over your head, even if you're sleeping next to barn animals. So they take him up on the offer. And Mary and Joseph wind up in the barn in the middle of Bethlehem. And I'm sure in the barn there are, as we've been sharing, sheep and probably cows, right? All sorts of characters. And on a special night, in the middle of this barn, amongst all of these animals, Mary delivers and gives birth to baby Jesus. I have to think he was a beautiful baby. And I have to think that the cow, the sheep, the donkey were probably pretty curious. But probably too, Joseph and Mary. After all, they'd heard so many special things about who this baby was going to be. And I'm sure that as they held him that night, on that special night when he was born, they looked into his eyes and could only imagine. And so we today set aside one day of the year to celebrate and to honor the birth of Jesus, though every day of the year, really, we give thanks for Jesus being born in us. I wish you a Merry Christmas. I wish you all the joy on this day, that as you open those gifts, you remember the gift of gifts, the gift of baby Jesus being born and coming for you to save you so that you might live with God. Friends, be well, and we'll see you soon.